gift you gave, a gentle hand so strong and brave. Through sleepless nights and working days, you showed me love in quiet ways. Not seeking praise, you stood so tall. You gave your life to give your all. A father like you, Lord, how could I ask for more? You carried our burdens, though your back was sore. With every small kindness in all you'd been through. Thank you, dear God, for a father like you. You taught me faith without a word. By how you lived, your voice was heard. You gave without asking, you prayed through the pain, trusting your grace again and again. Your joy was seeing us rise. You held our tears, wiped our cries. A father like you, Lord, how could I ask for more? You carried our burdens, though your back was sore. With every small kindness in all you'd been through. Thank you, dear God, for a father like you. Someday I hope my life will show the life, the seeds you sowed. And if I'm strong, it's thanks to you, a mirror of your love within. A father like you, Lord, a gift from above, a heart full of patience, a life full of love, no crown, no riches. Thank you, God, for a father like you. Yes, thank you, dear God, for a father like you.
Marcelline.
Hi, Margaret.
Happy Sunday, Marcelline.
Thank you, darling. I'm at my daughter's house.
Sakafet.
And I'm good. I have so much. Look at my computer. It is not. I just can't connect to her Wi-Fi.
Yes.
I can't connect. It's not allowing me to do that. So
Okay.
I have to send the email.
Geofirma?
I have to send the email.
You dealing with Geofirma?
I have no. Look.
You heard me?
It just not. Yeah.
Marcelline, I got it. Are you dealing with Geofirma where you are?
I don't know what it is, but since the other day it's not allowing me to connect to her Wi-Fi. So I don't know.
That's fine. Are you hearing me well?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm teasing you. I'm asking you, are you also dealing with Geofirma?
Most likely. but Margaret, this is something else. These people, they have no water, they have no electricity, the geothermal is a mess, and the Wi-Fi is a mess. They cannot work. You ever hear anything like that?
I'm so sorry, y'all. Well, hopefully we'll talk about that a little bit. But today we really wanted to take a little break from the politics. It's kind of hard, y'all. It's kind of hard. As Marcelline said, the people back home, it's a bit rough. Tonight, though, we wanted to take a little break, seriously, for a little while, and pause the political noise because today's Father's Day. And I want to wish everybody who's a dad a happy Father's Day. Um, a lot of men on Mother's Day were posting, look, watch and see what they're going to do for Father's Day. They're not going to study us for Father's Day. A lot of men, I think, feel left out, because of the way we appreciate maybe our mothers more, generally speaking, than our dads. So we thought we'd take a little break and do a little focus on fathers. Now, y'all, it's a stormy day where I am. It's quite dark outside. It's been raining and storming all day. We have a special guest that's joining Marcelline and me, but she might not be able to get in because of the geothermal situation. Now, this is a word Dominicans coined. Dominica is in the process of building a geothermal system for the electricity, and they're trying to get it online, but yeah, they're facing some troubles. Yeah, they're facing some troubles. But anyway, Marcelline, welcome today. Welcome.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you. It's great that we could, we are here this afternoon to
Mhm,
really, you know, give tribute to our fathers, to
mhm,
because it's a big day, regardless of how you slice it and dice it. It's an
mhm.
honorable day, and
Yes.
a lot of people would say, well, a lot of people say every day is Father's Day, but
Mhm,
I tend to disagree because we know that there are a lot of fathers who don't assume
mhm.
their role as fathers, and
Mhm.
a lot of them don't understand that role as a father.
That's
But
an important point, eh? Some of
yeah,
us were blessed with good fathers, or at least fathers who
mhm,
protected us, guided us, believed in
mhm,
us. And fatherhood is one of the most powerful forces in the family and the community. However, like you say, some of us wish perhaps we had more time, we had more influence, we had more presence, more understanding from our dads. And I would argue that many people feel or think like their fathers might still be on the journey to growing up.
mhm,
So tonight we're not talking about perfection. I
mhm,
don't want it to be about perfection. I want it to be more about reflection and gratitude and hope. I've been on a hope kick this week because fathers are behind every strong community.
mhm, mhm.
So for you, Marceline, when you hear that word father, what comes to you?
Nobility, honor, strength,
Mm,
that great provider, that
mm,
protector.
yeah,
Once that is home, everything would be okay.
once
And
that is home, everything will be okay.
yeah, when that is home, everything is okay.
Yeah.
And it's that your dad. I grew up at a home where my dad was not um, a coward. He
Mm,
was not easily intimidated. He was not he was not afraid of the darkness,
mm.
because as little kids growing up, you tend to be afraid of the dark, and but once that is there, then everything is fine. And I remembered back in the heyday, in my dad's heyday, he used to be huckstering back and forth from Guadeloupe, Marigoland, and what I remember as a little girl growing up is the jus is there, and he would bring back
Je
from
was there. That's right.
yes,
Je was there. That's right.
and he
The
would
grape
bring back
juice.
those wines, and then
Yes.
we all had our little gold earrings, the three plum gold
Three
earrings.
clover. Does it
So
say?
yeah, so and I remember my mom, piercing our ears and putting
Mhm.
that piece of thread in your ear, and you wanted that little gold earring, but you were afraid of the piercing.
Right.
And that is what daddy was. He would bring home the material for my mom to make our little dresses, and the French material, it had a thing to it. that thing was
Uh-huh.
not finishing now. So when you
Mhm.
get a little dress, get your dress sewn, you'd have it for a long time, and
Right.
everything was different. Everything was different,
It
and
was a different
you know,
energy when dad was
yes,
home.
yes, and especially when daddy, sometimes he would stay like 2 weeks, or sometimes a month, sometimes
Mhm.
3 weeks, and we would be we'd be at home with mom, but then we
Mhm.
knew that that was his way of life. He went out there to sell his produce and make his money. No, that produce came from his farm. My dad was a
Mm.
hardworking man,
Mhm.
so he had a lot of coffee and cocoa beans, and
Yeah.
so he was known for the coffee beans and the cocoa. And there were times when hucksters would come to Concord to buy those coffee beans. So it would be
Mhm.
how many bags and bags and bags of coffee beans that
Mhm.
he was notorious for the coffee and the
Oh,
cocoa.
yeah.
So yeah, but then having a father at the home, you know that it was just what we were used to.
Mhm.
And it's different when you grow up in a nuclear family than when you
Yes.
did not grow up in the nuclear family. So then
Yes.
a lot of things that that you saw your mom doing, you tend to take those tendencies, like the man inside of the house. You'd get up in the morning, you would make the coffee, you
Yeah.
would you would make the breakfast, you had to do the laundry, you had to.
Mhm.
So it kind of directed you along, the
The
family
roles
life.
were clearer, like the roles were more defined,
Yeah,
and
more
you knew.
defined.
Right. Right.
More defined. And then
Yeah.
well, back then the moms who worked inside of the home, the place wasn't the home to take care of the children, take care of the family, and the fathers would go to work and
Right.
what have you. But then that the man had a certain level of honor, that
A
their wives would
presence.
honor them, and
Mhm.
and in spite of what, they would just so sometimes I think that era, coming that era of men, it's a totally different
Yeah.
era of men now. But there are also men who came from those families as well, and there are some who did not come
Mhm.
from those families, but they have
Mhm.
decided that I don't want to replicate that example that
That
was not so
style.
good, that
Mhm.
so I want to be my own man. I want to be a different
Mhm.
man than how my dad was. But as we said,
Mhm.
today is not a day when we beat down on men, but it's a day
Mhm.
when we give them tribute. It's a day when we honor them, and it's a day when we thank them, because they do have a lot of men. They do have good qualities. They go out and
Absolutely.
work hard. They take care of the family, because it's not easy, for a man to have a family. And is he going to tell you, I am afraid? Like, if you're the woman, you're experiencing a certain level of fear, you could even say, well, but the man is not going to let you know he's cowering.
At least not our fathers, not the men in our father's generation. So I
No.
grew up with my stepdad. My stepdad raised me from the time I was a baby. And your dad sounds a lot like my dad. Because my dad would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he'd either go on sea, right? He'd go meet his friends on the beach, and they would go out to sea to cast the nets, cast the sand,
Mm,
bring in fish by 10 o'clock, boatloads of fish. Or he would go to the mountains to his farm, and he grew everything: yams,
really?
bananas, plantains, coffee, cocoa, coconuts, made copra, to be able to
Mhm,
sell to. There was always food in the house. There was always money in the house. I grew up
mhm,
feeling completely cared for. Something else that I remember about my dad is every night. You see the food you were talking about, like the honor kind
mhm.
of position in the house? Like he had that. So he'd come home dirty, stinky, sweaty, get his shower. But my mom always would prepare the food in the Pyrex dishes. And he'd have his meat and gravy and his provisions here and his rice here and his beans here. 4 course meal. Four
But
course
but
meal.
you know but you know the Pyrex dishes, some of the Pyrex dishes they had separation, that glass separation.
So you could put the some of the
The red
provision
beans,
provision here
like
and
today, like today Sunday, the red beans go in one section and the meat
yes,
go in the other
yes,
section.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
because it was, back then it was the red beans, the stew beef, and they grew the animals. They,
yes.
they they had their own
They raise their
livestock. They
own
took pleasure in
animals.
raising, their own chickens. and
Right.
and my dad had, he was a man who loved animals. He had
Yes.
cows, goats,
Yes.
chickens, pigs. He raised all of that. He was not a man that really like rearing sheep, but you know,
Goats. Did he
and
do goats?
yes, and he believed, yes, goats, and he believed in fresh meats. He believed
Yes.
in he that same Concord River that they are trying their darnest to poison and to
Mm-hmm.
kill all the life in that river. That was one of his favorite places where he would go, and he also made his own nets. He could make
Mm-hmm.
the nets. He would cast the nets.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he'd go and fish in the night, and catch that river fish. So there was always river fish, but his thing was
Wow.
about fresh fish and meat. It
Yes.
wasn't about the frozen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
His thing was about eat what you grow and grow what
Yeah.
you eat. His thing
Yes.
was about the natural seasoning, the thyme,
Mm-hmm.
the scythe, the black pepper bush,
They grew everything. Everything.
that is what
They.
he was,
Yeah.
even in our as adults, when we would buy the seasoning in the packet, he would,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes the cookie say, yes, and you shake, 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 shake. He would call the seasoning,
He's not done with the shake shake. He's
shake,
like, get
shake.
your knife and
He
cut
said,
your real fresh
he
herbs.
he did not like the shake shake, and it is because it's like all those things. He said it's, you're cooking, you don't have to lace it up with all those things and the in with use your natural seasoning. So my mom
Mhm.
always had her backyard gardening. She had all sorts of
Yes.
vegetables, the tomatoes, the cabbage, the
Yes.
um the
The
cucumber,
carrot.
and
Yes.
for some reason, those tomatoes were always tasted much more sour.
Delicious, right?
What They were sour,
For me,
much
they were
more than
delicious.
what they have now. And I
Mm.
remember, I remember the cucumber. I I liked the cucumber salad, but I did not like it because they would make it with all the seeds in there, and I did not like cucumber salad with the seed in there.
I mean,
So
I
I had to
remember going
do that.
into the garden and pulling up carrots, and you go wash the
Yeah.
carrots and eat, chomp on the carrots.
I know, and he had his, he believed in in growing the food,
Mhm.
and not putting
Organically too.
fertilizer
Until
in the
until
food.
fertilizer became a big deal for
Fertilizer,
bananas, they stayed
that
away
was
from
a no,
fertilizer. Yeah.
and he did not believe in using chemicals on his land, like the
Mhm.
gramoxone. He was
Yes.
one that did not use gramoxone on his land. He just did not use
Yes.
gramoxone, and he preferred to slash and weed and what
Wash
have
and
you.
burn.
But
Mhm.
his thing was, when you use those harsh chemicals on the soil, it's killing the micro and macro organisms in the soil. I was
Oh,
like,
really? He would say
micro and
that to
macro.
you? Wow.
Yes, we were young growing up, and that is what he would say. It kills the micro and macro organism in the soil. Like he's not saying the, like, maybe I would say maybe the worms or he's not
Right, right,
saying that.
right. Right.
He's used it. He was a man of, as I said to you before, he was an avid reader. He
Yes.
was a man who was well read, and he liked listening to the news, and we had to listen to the news as well. We could not be talking whenever the news. We were called to the table to listen to the news, and every morning he would pray because he felt it was his responsibility to pray for his children and to raise his children in a particular way, that you
Mhm.
have to cover your children, you have to raise them
Mhm.
in that spiritual sense, knowing God, and knowing how to pray,
But let
knowing
me
how
ask
to
you a question. Let
reverence.
me ask you something,
Mm.
Marceline. Do you think a father, do you think a man, well, father, can provide financially but miss the mark emotionally?
If a
And
father, if a
do you
father
think
can,
that do you think a father can provide financially, do all of this like pray for, um, grow the food, but miss the mark emotionally with their kids?
of course, because the father, fathers have they are there are fathers who are caregivers, so
Hmm.
so that is an emotional aspect. There are fathers who are also the ones who provide financially and otherwise. I think a real father is a well-rounded father, one who is supposed to nurture. Well, I mean, the main aspect of it is on the women. A lot of men think that nature, but fathers have to be involved and train their children, in particular with discipline, mainly disciplining of the children, and
Hmm.
and a lot of times we think that the fathers they are not because of the male ego they do not they do not exercise that kind of emotional part of it, but
Hmm.
no. I remembered when my mom wanted to go to work, and my dad asked her. She was adamant in going to work, and
Hmm.
because she wanted to, and make her
She
own
wanted the
money.
experience of it.
Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
wanted the experience. And
Hmm.
he said to her once, he said, so Florrie, you're going to leave your beautiful little girls and go to work,
Mm.
and he said, who would comb their hair, and he would ask up those questions.
But he
And I
didn't say
remember,
no. You were
no, he
just saying
didn't
he
say
didn't
no.
say
And
no. He just.
I remember that conversation because he did not want her to go. So he used,
Mhm.
her beautiful little girls,
Yes.
when you take to stay home and take care of your kids. So,
Hmm.
you want to go to work, but he didn't stop her. She went, and he was not the
Hmm.
one to say, well, okay, I'm gonna beat you down until you stay. No, she went because one of the things that he did not do was to hit. And I've never seen my
Hmm.
parents fight in the 66 years they were married.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, so she went, and
Hmm.
we he sent us to school. I remember the times when he would comb our hair to go to school. I mean, it was not the fancy style,
What did it
because
look like? What did it look like of
it's
that doing his best?
when it looked just like when he plaited, he used to platter, the a rope, to
Like straw
tie the
and rope?
goats. And when after it would be so tight that when you go to school the ends would be cracking up like that.
Yes,
you know
but it was
you know
done.
like
Yes.
uh, and kids would laugh at us at the hairstyle, but it was
Hmm.
our daddy who combed the hair, or mom wasn't there. And
Hmm.
when you got home, the food was, he cooked our lunch. There wasn't a
Yes.
day when we went home at 12 o'clock and the food wasn't there. He cooked the food, and
Yeah.
he made sure that he fed us, and he made sure that we were clean. He made sure that we went to school. He combed our hair. So that's caused us to have that kind of special
Bond with him.
bond with
Well, who
our.
takes care of the dads though? Because our fathers really do a lot. Dads, I'm speaking about my dad, the way you describe your dad, they were
Mhm,
very present, especially when it came to working. They worked very hard. I know I
mhm,
learned my work ethic from that man, watching him
mhm,
every day, sun
mhm,
up to sundown, full day of work, right? And he would feel, if he was sick, he felt almost guilty. Yeah. So,
mhm.
I mean, who takes care of the man while he's taking care of everybody else? Do you think we are doing a good enough job with the men in our lives?
Good. That's a very that's a very interesting question. because because I think we live. I I think we live in a different era, and we do not want to replicate our mothers, because in
In
the
what way?
time back in the time, remember,
Uh-huh.
the women's place was in the home.
Right.
It was rare for women to be working outside of the home. Even so,
Hmm.
my mom decided to work, but she only worked for a few months,
Yeah.
and then she what have you. But back in the day, the woman's place was in the home, and it was the man who went out to work. A lot of a number of women were not working, but the
Hmm.
women had to. It was hard on the women too. They had the
Yes.
home to run. They had their husbands to take care of, because some of the husbands are just like kids. I remember my father could never find the handkerchief. Florine, where OT Posh, OT, where's my pocket kerchief? Because
Uh,
whenever he's going out, he needed his handkerchief in his pocket.
sure.
Florrie, everything he needed. Florrie, where's my socks? Florrie, where's my
Right.
this? Florrie had to make sure that everything was
Yeah.
there.
That's true.
Everything was there for him. And
Hmm.
back in the women would cater for them from coffee down to dinner. They would
Yeah.
cater for him,
All
and
day long.
because they were at home. And even
Mm-hmm.
if you work, yeah, they don't see it. They did not see the women at home as if the place was, if they were working inside of the home. They
Mm-hmm.
um they saw it as the women's role to take care of the children, and to cook. And it's a lot of washing on the hand. Before there was no washing machine, they would not be washing on hands and stuff like that. So it was a lot of tiring work for the women, because they were inside of the home. But in today's day,
But in
you have
today's
working
day,
women.
right,
You
right.
have working women. The women go out and they work as much as the men,
Mm-hmm.
and to so in today's days, they in today's modern day, they are equal partners. I
Mm-hmm.
see women as equal partners. They go
Mm-hmm.
work
Work
outside to
wise.
bring in the money. They help pay the mortgage. Some women pay the full mortgage. So they still take care of the children.
Well,
They still what have
like
you.
you say,
So,
some. What about those who are
yes.
not? What about those who are not? Do you think that we have moved on in a way where we hold the belief that uh, we're modern, right? And even though the modern wife and mother is still in the home, taking care of the home, do you think that modern wives and homemakers are caring for their husbands the way? Um, well, let me say, who is caring for the men who are the primary providers in today's day and age?
In a home, a woman, it's equal partners. Are you hearing me, Margaret?
I'm hearing you well.
Are you seeing me?
I can see you. I just can't see your face moving. It's the
Okay.
geothermal, yo. Is it?
Is it cheap? Because I'm not using my computer.
That's
Kiki,
right. It's the
Kiki, call
geothermal. I'm
Sherry for me,
telling you,
please.
it's that kind of day.
Yeah, yeah. So, rephrase that question again, Margaret.
Who is taking care of the fathers who are the primary breadwinners?
I think in a relationship there is compromise, and a family is not just based on the financial aspect of it and the what have you. A family is based, love is the basic, is the root, is the foundation on which a family is built.
Mhm.
And if there is love in the family, then of course, then the word compromise comes in. So
Mhm.
a lot of times it's a matter of compromise, and it's the way you feel about how you view your relationship, how you view certain things in your relationship.
Mhm.
Because if the man is the one who is doing all of the what have you, Kiki, excuse me. Call Sherry for me, please. If the man is the one, if the man is the one doing the going out there to work and what have you, then of course we have to show appreciation and we have to cater more. And even if the woman is working too, it's a lot of it's compromise in both in all instances.
For sure.
And it's not because it's the man is the man you at home and the man is at work, meaning that the man is working more outside of the
Outside of the
home,
home.
side of
Mhm.
the home. You know,
It's very hard work on
a
running
woman's
a
work is
house.
never done. When the
Yeah.
man will come home and he'll kick off his shoes and take a shower and go in front of the TV, then the woman can't do that.
Mhm.
She still has dinner to prepare. She still have the kids to take care of. She has the home. She has, and it reminds me back, there's a song that we learned at primary school, and it would say, there was an old man who lived in the wood, as you can plainly see. He said he could do more work in a day than his wife could do in three. You know that
Oh,
song, Margaret?
I've never heard that song.
It's a song we learned at school.
Oh wow.
It's a song we learned at school,
Uh-huh.
and after he said that he could do more work in a day than his
Hmm.
wife could do in three. So he had
Hmm.
to milk the cows. He had to do all of what the wife was doing, and
Uh-huh.
then the song says when he went to milk the cow, it's like the song goes, but tidy hinched and tidy flinched and tidy cocked her nose and tidy hit the man such a kick that blood ran down his nose. Because
Ah.
he believed that he could do everything, And then when she outlined to him, and he must feed the pigs and the
Mhm.
chickens and everything that she has to do, that he had to do, and he forgot half of what she had to do. Although he thought that he could do more work in a day than his wife could do in three.
Right. That's
and we
crazy.
learned and we learned that song since in primary school. Hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Yo, thank you all for listening. We're gonna do a speed. Marcelline, you and I want us to do a speed kind of round where I'm gonna throw a word out and you're gonna say the first thing that comes to your mind about your dad. And you can type in the chat if you want to participate. Okay.
Ma- Margaret, I'm not seeing the chat. I'm not seeing the chat.
I can see the chat. I can't
Where,
you're
where you
fine.
posted it? Where
I'll
you
tell you.
posted it? You posted on social media?
I did. I
What
did.
page? Did
It's
you
on
did you
It's on my Margaret Wallace page.
did you tag it to my page?
I have not. Let me do this. Thank you all for
Okay.
watching. Let
Go
me
on,
forward it to
Cherry for me.
you, Marceline.
Tell her to come. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, guys, we're gonna do a little uh back and forth rounds with a special word. Okay, Marceline. I am gonna send it to your messenger right now. Yes, y'all. What have you done so far for your Father's Day? What have you done for your daddy for your Father's Day?
Who is that? Me, Margaret?
No, I'm talking to the people. I sent it to one. Martin, you've got
Yes.
several pages, right?
Come, I tell you.
Martin, you've got several pages.
If what?
You have several pages, right?
Yeah, I have 2 pages
Okay.
in my name.
Okay. All right. Yes, y'all. We're talking about daddies. We are talking about daddies tonight. We will talk about politics a little later. Just a few thoughts on politics of the week. But
Butterfly.
today's a special day.
Okay.
I sent it to your page, Marcy.
Okay, thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret, when you're not on your computer, so it is.
That's how it is. We're
Yes.
making it do what it do. We're
Yeah.
making it do what it do. So yeah. So I want to say some words, and I want you will go back and forth. And anybody who comes upon this, I want to use it as a little bit of a healing opportunity because I appreciate that for a lot of people, Father's Day is complicated. Father's Day is complicated because um, for many reasons, right? You might not have known your dad. Your dad, there might have been a separation in the family. People lost touch. People have wounds from their fathers. I know they're talking about our dads like, they're the best things in sliced bread. But I had dads myself. I have a biological dad and a stepdad. My stepdad raised me like his, but I had I did not have much of an ongoing relationship with my biological dad, although we were connected. So, you know, this does have an impact on many kids. I think a lot of us, when we become adults, I think it's your responsibility to spend time to work through that so that you can come to a place of understanding about it. I think something we forget too that many is that our parents, when they had us, many of them were kids. They were young. They were just, learning life themselves and had to go through a lot of lessons. So sometimes you have the pain and the hurt that comes from that. So first word that comes to your mind or thoughts that come to your mind when I say, what's been your biggest joy about your dad? Biggest joy about your dad? Or when you think about your dad?
My dad.
Yes, yours. Your biggest joy
Oh.
about your dad.
Well, the biggest joy about my dad is just listening, to, hear him, you talk about his life, talk about his experiences, and the way he endeared us, the way he would he would talk about us, call
Mm,
us, and he was never angry. It's just a lot that I could say. Is a
yeah.
lot I could say about him,
Mhm.
he had a pet name for all his kids, and he his teachings, his everything. And at the beginning, it wasn't. When you're younger, you feel that your parents are hard. Your dad is hard. Your
Mhm.
dad is. But as
Mhm.
time goes on, and now in my adult years, I can see the essence of a lot of things that he said. And
Mhm.
boy, when he would tell you about his experiences, you would just laugh and laugh. I remembered even up when he was on his last days, on his last leg. Then
Mhm.
uh, uh, I had uh, when he got really really sick, I
Mhm.
realized it was time for me to go home. And
Mhm.
my husband came from Dominica, and when he came, he said to me, I went to visit your dad, and you know your dad does not look good.
Mhm.
And he said, if you want to see your dad alive, you would have to go home.
Yeah.
So then so then no, so then I went. Behave. Your mom.
You're doing the
Yeah.
the grandparently duties.
Yes. So his mom
Yeah.
is there, but he's running off. We had dinner together this afternoon.
Yeah.
So I decided, well, but I would call him because I had promised my daughter that I would, come to Florida to be with, my little granddaughter because she was going to Africa in the new year. And, I said, well, when she comes back, I would go home. But every
Mhm.
time he says, he said, when are you coming? When are you
Oh.
coming? So I keep telling him, hang in there. I'm going to come.
Mhm.
As soon as she
Yeah.
comes back, I'm going to come. I'm gonna
Yeah.
come. So he says, stop coming and come. You need to come. All I'm
Yeah.
hearing. And he just did not want to hear that again.
Oh,
So when I got there, I
oh.
said he had given us a joke. He had given us a joke when he was a boy and in primary school that
Mhm.
his back in the day, the snack at school wasn't the fancy snacks that children have now. It was
Uh-huh.
it was a piece of copra and and little stuff like that. So so somebody, a schoolmate, brought a copra to school,
Yeah.
and uh, shared the copra, and he did not give him. So he said, I will come to school tomorrow with my copra."
I will not copra you. You won't get my copra tomorrow.
Yes, yes, he come in. So when he was going home, there was a man, they call him Mr. Edwill, which I don't know, But so he said when he was going home, when he passed in the road at North End,
Uh,
it's like he saw a coconut, so he picked up the coconut and he brought it home. And he put
uh-huh.
the coconut on the bench. That is after school in the afternoon. He put the coconut on the bench, and he went inside to change his clothes. So so his mom now came from the river and she put her clothes. When she saw the coconut on the bench, she knew he was the one who brought the coconut home because he was feisty like that. So he went. So she crept up in the room because
Uh-huh.
behind him. And then when she came, she just pounced on him and she held him and she gave him what a beating. And she told him,
Wow.
go back and carry Mr. Edwin coconut. He just said, when you get the coconut. So he gave his mother a story that the coconut, when he was passing the coconut, almost fell on him. So he took up the coconut. So the mother gave him water beating and sent him
Mm-mm.
back to bring the coconut. And then, they had this thing that, they used to put the spit on the ground and say, don't make the
Right.
spit dry before,
It
before
better
you
not be
come back.
dry. It
So he
better not
told
be
us when he was going down, he passed a fufu. The little birds there,
dry.
a
The
fufu.
hummingbird.
Yes,
Yeah.
he said he passed the fufu going down, the hummingbird going down. He said, you already go down, overtake the fufu, put Mr. Edward coconut back down on the ground where he got it, and took back up, coming back home. He said he passed the hummingbird in the same spot he passed it when the bird was going down. Speed he had like that. So when I reached home, when I reached, I said, sorry, I said, Daddy, you see, I'm here now. I said, Poop, you remember the amount of speed you had when you were going and put back Mr. Edward coconut? And even he was sick and he was like not feeling good and
Mhm.
regurgitating everything he had eaten and what have you. He
Mhm.
started he
He
just burst
smiled.
into laughter. He laughed so hard. My brother-in-law said, you got Mr. Steve to laugh. What did you tell him? So it was that thing I told him about the hummingbird. And
Uh-huh.
he was in the frame of mind where he could narrate it to you. So it's all
Yeah.
those little things that, you bring back when he was a boy growing up and what have
Mhm.
you. And he had
Mhm.
another thing doing, like when his mom had like to beat. So when his mom, his shirt would never, his shirt was always without
Was
button.
never tucked in.
Yeah,
Okay.
button. So he would tell us when you see his mother comes and you see his mother grab him in the shirt, and he'd show us how he would put his hand. He said, when I put my hand like that, he
Uh,
put his two hands behind the back, but she held the shirt. He said, I leave Nanny's shirt in her hand for her, she did buy. When he come, when she grab him and he jump, and he put his two hands at his back. He said, I give Nanny shirt in her hand for her, she did buy her shirt. So she could never catch him.
uh,
There was a tall breadfruit tree that he would climb up on the breadfruit tree. And
uh,
he had a special song. And he would call the Malfini the chicken hawk. There's a way you call the chicken hawk.
Malfini
Yeah,
voleibol.
to come and eat up all his mouth. So it's all those jokes there. So at his funeral, my cousin David Johnson,
Mhm.
he said, "Oh, you don't know nothing about Uncle Steve, you know." It's like, you don't know nothing about our father. You must ask. You must ask his mother about Uncle Steve. You must let his mother give us the jokes about him. And he said, "Do you know Uncle Steve was the first one to leave his parents' home? He left Marigot very young,
Oh,
90
really?
years, and he headed up to
Mm.
Concord. And
On his own.
yeah, he headed up to Concord. And
Mhm.
one of the things that he said is that he doesn't want his mother to raise his children. He doesn't want his children to be raised by grandparents because
Mhm.
he wants his children to be raised under one rule, one set
Mhm.
of rules, and not
Mhm.
two sets of rules. So
Right, right, right.
he said when he sends his children to take anything to his mother's home,
Mhm.
he gives us a time to come back. But he
Mm.
says his children not going to
To
stay there
stay.
and adopt a different set of rules. So
Mhm.
with him, it was one rule, the
He
rule at
was very
home.
firm.
Yes,
Yes.
one rule
Yes.
at his home. So when he give us a time, we go down by our grandparents. He give us a time, we have to come back by that time. And I see a lot of how this really shaped us and what have you. There are
Mhm.
times when he says he would climb up on the tall breadfruit tree in the yard, and when the mother is looking for him, his mother is looking for him to beat him. He's on top of the breadfruit tree, and he composed a song for his mother. He composed a song. He said, Nanny does not like her children, especially the boys. In a song he had that singing. So, so we would laugh about those things because he would give us those jokes, and it was just so much fun, Margaret. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of those things that you remember. I remember when he started graying. We would little girls. We would sit. He had his after lunch. Once he's at home, he has to take that. Go take your mommy. Yeah, go and let your mommy fix it for you. So he would after lunch he would always take that 10 minutes nap.
Mhm.
And that is the time we
It's
would
a
get to
fiesta.
everybody have their little comb or their piece of comb in his hair, and everybody's fighting to take out the gray hair. So his head was, four of us, it would cut that in two. It's like, everybody got a quarter. We would take out gray hair. We couldn't push our comb on the other side, to
Yeah.
take out gray hair
Because
for our
you'll be
father.
fighting
It
for
used to
for
be,
for
we had
dominion.
territory. We had territory. We had
Mhm.
our
Fighting
our
for
turf,
dominion. Your
our
side.
turf in his
Yeah.
on his to take out his gray hair.
Yes.
So
Yes.
everybody had the side that they had to what have you.
So I
And
think, guys, I want to, Marceline, I want to interrupt you. So, guys, Marceline is full of stories because Marceline actually lost her dad last
mhm,
year. So a lot of that is really close to you today. Yeah. And
mhm,
I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that because for some people, this is their first Father's Day, like you, without your dad. And when you had a dad who was so impactful, it is really, yeah, it takes a while for that grief to move through you. Yeah, I do love my favorite memories with my dad are about storytelling too. He would talk about, and I would crawl into the bed with him every night to hear stories about Compe Balau and Compe Tig and Compe this and Compe that. He had all kinds of stories. I don't know if he made some of them up. I think he made some of them up, but those were like my favorite. I think they taught me a love for words, and like that's my. I really love to write right now, but I think it started
mhm,
there.
mhm,
And every night he had these stories about Compe Lape, Compe Tig, Compe Bala, Compe Zofi, Compe this,
mhm,
Compe that. Um, there was a song Susan Ponka, Ponka Mokotam, come let we go there with Susan Ponka. I don't know. I think he made that up. I don't know. But it just put such a feeling inside of me of safety and protection. And I
mhm,
knew I could always depend on him, even when he was maybe under his little tokes, because he used to drink a little tokes, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
I always felt safe. with him. Always felt safe with him. I loved being with him. So he had his cattle and his goats, and I was like a shadow. I love just being around him. He's doing his
Mm-hmm.
thing, and I'm there with the bushes playing school. I'm wailing on the trees. I'm having my little pretend school. I'm the teacher, and I'm beating up the Maho Pima bush, stuff like that. But I think mostly it was the feeling of
Mm-hmm.
safety that I had just being in his presence. And yeah, those are my biggest joys with him. All right, biggest pain. What's the thing that maybe hurt you the most?
I mean, that hurt me the most. When
Yeah, what's
with
your
my
biggest
dad,
pain regarding your father?
the what?
Your biggest pain regarding your father or fatherhood, or one that you can share. The thing that hurt you the most.
Um, well,
That hurt you most.
his illness, uh, it really had a, it was short, and I was still hoping that he would have been, he would not have been anywhere. He would have waited, and going home and seeing him,
Like
and
you would have recovered. You were hoping that you would have recovered.
yeah, yeah, I was,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I sensed something was wrong. I didn't have to go to sense it because I would speak to him almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
And once I called him,
Mm-hmm.
and I I I could hear that he did not, the the power he had in his voice, it was lacking. And then I
It
asked
didn't sound
him.
like himself.
No, I asked him. I said, I said, where did the lion go? I said, I asked him, I said, Daddy, where did the tiger go? I don't hear the tiger in your voice anymore. And he says, after a time is another.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's,
Mm-hmm.
come, come and say hello.
No, Dr. West.
Okay, yeah, say hello. Say,
Hello.
say hi.
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 Okay, go ahead now.
Hi. How are
so,
you?
so, so, so yeah, uh, that really, that
You
really
said,
took
where did the
me.
lion go or the tiger?
Yes, I asked him where did the lion go,
Mm-hmm.
but I could hear, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
the radio is loud all the time. The radio is loud all the time, and then
Mm-hmm.
the volume, you turn down the volume a bit. But I heard when that volume turned down
Mm-hmm.
because I would talk to him all the time.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And once they told me
Yeah.
what was he was experiencing, then I said, well, maybe because of the medication, he probably needs to he probably needs to maybe take some, yogurt, probiotics or stuff like that to settle his. But I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it was that big, that issue. So once when we found out, uh, when they had the meeting, and and the doctor gave his, I was like, oh my God, I could not believe. So that was a hard one. That was a hard one for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I can't, all of the I cannot I cannot think of a time when I had a painful experience, with my dad, that he did something to hurt me to the point I have to, share that. It was all about, you growing up with your parents, and it's all about discipline. It's all about what have you. So you cannot
Mm-hmm.
fault your parents for wanting to discipline. I remembered once they once he told me about something that hold on a while, let me go close that door thing.
Yes. Type in the chat, y'all. Give me the positive. Give me your biggest joy about your dad. Your biggest joy, most joyful memory, maybe, or
Yes,
um,
sorry, I had to close that door. So
yeah.
yeah.
I was just asking them, Marceline, to type a big joy they experience with their fathers.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You were saying
Well,
you were saying that you can't really pinpoint like a particular sense of pain about your dad, just mostly just watching, learning about his skill set.
discipline,
Mhm.
discipline. He told you what it was, and we grew up listening because that's what we had to do. I mean, we listened when he was home. The authority was, he had
Mhm.
the authority at the home,
Mhm.
and I didn't see my dad. I didn't see him abuse my mom.
Mhm.
We didn't grow up in that kind of
That kind of way.
environment where there was fights. There was. We didn't grow up in that kind of environment.
Mhm.
So maybe I would have said that maybe if had brought up in that environment, I could say, well, what have you, but
Mhm.
that was not the environment at home,
Yeah.
and
My
we did
my
not.
biggest pain, my biggest pain was watching him stop working. Like start closing out his life. Like that experience you just described with your dad. So I remember distinctly talking to him on the phone from Atlanta and him admitting really Tonton Masa Fayankona, where he said Masa
Mhm,
Masa Masa voice. So he started losing his vision and he said Masa Fayankosa. And he started crying, because he had done this all of his life. And that was painful because like in that moment I had to be more of a support versus, so the role had reversed in a way
mhm,
where that's the first time maybe like, because I went to him for everything. Like for me he's a philosopher. It didn't matter how old I was. I always wanted to hear his input and his thoughts on me making big decisions.
mhm,
So it was very weird to be the one listening to him telling me Tonton Masa Corner and the sadness in his voice that
mhm,
because of life, because his eyes were shutting down, he was not going to be able to go up to his mountain, to his garden, and do
mhm,
his. And life starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller because you can't go as far. You need other people to help you do
yeah.
things. And so
Mhm,
watching him transition from the strong man that always was up 4 o'clock in the morning to no, you got to take care of him. That was not nice to. I didn't like that. I didn't enjoy that.
I know. Well,
Yeah, you know.
with my dad, he did not. He wasn't sick for a long time. He was only sick for 2 months, and
Mm-hmm.
he lived a full life, and he was a man who accepted life. He accepted circumstances, even
Yeah.
when we lost our mom. Passed. Our mom passed like it was like a little over 2 years before he passed, but
Mm-hmm.
it was hard to see him grieve our mom. Naya, it was hard to see him grieve our mom, and
Mm-hmm.
he did not want to go to the funeral home to view the body because we wanted him. He said, "Why have to do that? Is that the modern thing?" So we couldn't sell him the idea of wanting to go to the funeral home to view the body. And then
Mm-hmm.
at the at the at my mom's funeral, he he said he did not want to see her intern. So he did the service. He viewed her, the last at the church, but he did not go down to the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to see that aspect there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remembered when I went home after that, I asked him I asked him the question for the first time about whether if he how does he feel if he misses my mom and what have you. and I, he says something. I said, have you ever dreamed of mama? And he just got instantly angry.
Mm.
And I said, I was just trying to, figure out, just how you feel and stuff like that. And I just never spoke about it, never
Mhm.
spoke about it after that. But then,
Mhm.
he said, he will meet her, he will see her, where they
In
meet.
time.
And,
Mm. Mhm.
but he accepted that aspect of life. He was
Of
a
life.
man that was prepared for, and it's the way how he would be prepared for things like, he just knows that, okay, as long as you live, you have to die. He says,
Mm.
willing to live but bound to die.
But
So he
bound
did
to that.
not,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he did not have those issues with that.
Yeah.
And we thought that he would not have endured so well, but he did.
Mhm.
He did. And
Mhm.
that go back over there. Go back.
Grandma is on duty.
So,
Grandma is on duty.
so then that is no, use that other door. So that is how. But it's in life. It's we get to understand that, our parents are only here for a while.
Mhm.
Although I wasn't looking forward to the day, because when you have your parents for 97 years, 98 years, and you don't expect your people and that powerhouse, then you
Right.
don't expect them to go.
Strong. Right.
And one of the things that really stuck out most is when I go to Dominica, the usual where he would be, sitting on the step, and I would go down, crouching down, my head bowed, because I don't want him to see who is coming.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
when I got close and I just look up, and how you just be smiling. I
Yes.
said
And
that
now
was
that's it.
amazing. And once he made a song for me, Margaret, and I have the song that I want to play,
You
and that was
do.
my dad. Yes, no.
Forsake her, but forsake her I would not. For the girl I love so dearly, she has put me in wandering sad. Oh yes, they told me to forsake her, but forsake her I would not.
Yes, Daddy.
The one I love so dearly, she has put me in wandering sad.
Well, you're doing well.
Oh. Oh.
They told me to
Wow.
forsake her, but forsake her I would not. The one I love so dearly.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Wow. And you have that. I'm very happy that you have that. I'm very happy that you have his voice. Yeah. And his words. Yeah. And the grandbabies can have it and hear him. Yeah. I'm very happy for that. Okay. So now, um, let's read a few comments. Somebody, Angelo says it's a very bad night for the internet. He says, hope we survive it. We're trying. Where I am, again, is quite stormy where I am. And our guest could not join us because she went home today and there was no water, there was no geothermal, no electricity. Um, and I think the internet, I think Flo was having issues in Dominica as well today. So it's been a very bad day for connectivity. So we appreciate those of you who did join. Yeah, I appreciate the challenges. Chiquetta, you said, what about the doo-doo joke? Is there a doo-doo joke? Maybe there's a doo-doo joke that Marcelline can share another time. I don't know about that joke. Chiquetta was also saying that we had so much fun in Dominica when we were growing up. Dominica was beautiful, beautiful and unique. Just an idyllic way. The best way for a child to grow up was Dominica And I hope it's that way for the kids right now, but yeah, I wouldn't trade mine for anything. Gareth says he's also having internet connectivity issues. It's awful this evening, so he's going to follow the best he can. Best wishes. Gareth, if you're a dad, happy Father's Day. Good night to you. Ricky said earlier, geothermal. He say, don't go telling people. No, don't go telling people it's men that cause the problem. Maybe change the name to geother female. That's how it is. That's how it is. But yeah, okay. Now, biggest lesson from our dads. My biggest lesson from my dad is to be very careful with what I put my energy into. Um, so he had a phrase where he would say, Timon, uni benefits en ça. Si vous prenez benefits en ça, quittez ça tranquille. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, always ask me to look and see what is in this thing for you. Why are you doing this thing? Does this have value to you? If there's no value in it, don't waste your time or your energy or your effort. Do a good assessment before you put in so much effort or energy, right? And if it's outside of your needing to do anything, leave it alone. If you don't need to, if it's so many benefits on ça, why are you getting so worked up? It's so many benefits on ça. Why are you giving it so much time, so much effort, so much consideration? So that has saved me a lot, and it's helped me to establish boundaries about myself and for myself, and to allow other people, if they have benefits in it, that's fine. That's for them. But to understand, like to separate and focus, separate and focus. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
perhaps one of my biggest lessons from Wopla.
That's how you call him, Wopla?
Wopla, yeah, Wop. That was his nickname around the village, Wop. And people would say Wopla, like they pass and say hey and say
And
Wop. Yeah.
one of the things my dad always would say is, make hay while the sun shines.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do something today, don't leave it for tomorrow.
Mm,
And he taught us how to stand up for something, stand
mm-hmm.
up for what you believe. And if you believe in something, make it abundantly clear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so much that's in real life, that things that we can look back and say that yes, he did his best. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things he just did not like was that that gossip story, that's gossiping and stuff like that. He always told us to mind our business. And yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
said, mind our business. If it has nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do with you, just leave it alone.
Right.
And pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So if we have to listen to this man and what he told us, then and put everything in good, in the perspective in which, in the
Perspective.
order, in
Yeah.
the correct order,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way we would have gone astray. And with all of he was a man who spoke his mind, and he was brave, he was strong. He his word was his word. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that is happening now, sometimes I just wish my dad was around, that I could call him and talk to him. A lot of things in the political realm,
Mm-hmm.
the mining of Debash, the poisoning of the river, those are things that my father would not have stood for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remembered when old as he was, 90 something, 90 something, right before he got sick.
Mm-hmm.
uh, when he would listen. He was a fan of Q95, and he would listen to the radio all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he hear the callers calling, and he says, scare it, give us our electoral reform. Scare it, you're not giving us electoral reform. My father would say, scare it, don't give them a damn. As long as it's begged, they want to beg for it. Don't give them a damn. Eh? You go in on the radio,
Right.
can't read. You know, it's like he said, electoral reform
How
does
can
not
you be
mean.
begging for what is your right?
He
What is
said, the
yours, you
people
know?
have gifts. Assert your power. Yeah. He said, as long as it's beg, you have to beg for it. If you make up the mind to be begging every day for it, he said he must not give them a damn. Because back in his heyday, he would not be, hey, give us our electoral reform. Electoral
It's not
reform
like
is for
that.
the people. It is
Mm,
it is not non-political. This is how
mm,
you get free and fair elections. This is how you
mm,
protect your democracy. So he pretty much, stand up and pretty much and what is happening in the bush in the heyday, back in the
mm,
day, if these men were alive, like Mr. Willie Gordon, Mr. William Scotland, my dad, Mr. Vincent Gordon, all these people, if they were
yeah.
alive, that would not be happening in the bush.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you that they would not have attempted to do that, but they would not
Hmm.
sit back and allow it to happen. And that's why I miss the strength and the integrity of this man.
Yeah.
What is happening now where our politicians are not just seeing, they don't know if they come in, if they go in, you don't know where they are, they suddenly claiming new friends and what have you. It's like that would not sit well with my father
Wishy-washy,
either.
not grounded, not focused, not firm, unreliable, undependable. That wasn't that generation at all. Wasn't that
Mm-mm.
generation? Well, I
And
want to
it was
thank you so much, Marceline, for sharing so much about your dad. I want to transition a little bit to some of the politics of the week, but I want to say um, Happy Father's Day to the men who have given birth to babies and who have raised other men's babies and who've been there as mentors, as coaches, as just uncles who stepped in, friends, godfathers. I have a wonderful godfather um, who stepped in and did a good job, I think, as my godfather. The thing is, fatherhood is not just measured by biology.
Mhm,
Children do better when there's a father present in
mhm,
many levels, educationally, with their emotional regulation, with their ability to succeed, and even in schoolwork, even in academics, they do better when their fathers are there. And fatherhood is about presence, fatherhood is about protection and wisdom and sacrifice and love and caring and I know, as I said earlier, some people are carrying some wounds from their father relationships. I hope you give yourself an opportunity to heal that. Um, the future of every nation depends on strong fathers. This is what you were just saying. When our fathers get weak or feel weak, basically you lose the backbone of the country. And so I really hope that we celebrate our men in our community more, our fathers in the community more, and I hope we remember to give them the support they need. Yeah, I hope we remember to give them the support they need. So, dads, happy Father's Day. All right. Now, a few things before we leave. We have about. I just wanted to touch on a few things, politics wise. Now we're doing a little segue. This week we had a couple pretty good politics situations in Dominica. We had um, representative of Roseau North resign, Miss Blanchard resigned. And then, was it this week or last week? Anyway, it was very recent. And then we had a young lady step into the ring to represent, not to represent yet, but to offer herself to represent Roseau North constituency. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts on that? So we got more critical politics because we're all for the women coming into for good, strong, smart, focused women participating in politics. What are your thoughts on this young lady who stepped into the ring?
Well, I would like to applaud her from coming into the political ring
Hmm.
as a woman because that has been my call for the past. That I would like to see more women, come into the, into the political ring, put themselves up, to serve their country and what have you.
The
But
people.
then when I look at it, I am looking at, where she is heading. And this government has been, given the fact that this government has been in office for the past 25 years, and this government has placed a signature of hardship, of poverty, of mendicancy, of oppression, of victimization, of so much on the young people in Dominica. They have no jobs. They have no future. They don't know where they are going. Young people are living in droves. And she chose, I mean, it's her democratic right. Nothing is wrong with her making her democratic choice. But to choose to put your signature on the demise of the young people handed down by the government, by the team that she's supporting, I think she's on the wrong side of times.
You think she made a
And
mistake?
yeah, I think she's on the wrong side. That she's
Mm,
on the wrong side because how do you represent your people and think that you can do much more. You can do more for your people when you have this man who has been in office for the past 20 to 25 years, and all
mhm,
this man has done is take the country down, in a downward spiral. You have more young people committing crimes, and I'm not saying that's all our young people. I'm not saying that in a way
mhm,
to to our young people. But the
mhm.
fact is that
You're saying that crime has increased in the
crime has
country.
increased
Mhm,
among our young people.
mhm,
They of course, where there's crime, you talk about drugs, you talk about guns, you
mhm,
talk about other crimes, you talk about young people not being to be goal oriented, because
mhm,
if they do not have any income, then are they going to set goals for themselves? And
mhm,
then I was listening to you in the on the Q95 radio interview when you said that they have to create their own platform. But
mhm,
given the circumstance in Dominica, it's very few that will be able to create their own platform. And
mhm,
when having to create their own platform, it means you need finances, you need what have you, so that you can you know so that you could get a start. But they have no start. And
mhm,
you're telling me that this more young people have left the country. And as a young person, you're telling me this is what you are really putting your signature to, the demise of young people or for
mhm,
young people. I cannot um, I cannot see that as making you know a mistake. It is a
mhm,
mistake. And at this late stage, as a young person, I don't
mhm,
see how I would, do that. If I am represented, then I would want to represent change, something that is going to change the young people. But I would
mhm,
not want to put a stamp of approval on all of what I mentioned earlier that has
mhm,
not worked for the young people. And I
mhm,
think that is what she has done. She has placed a stamp of approval on all the things that Skerrit has imposed on the young people to kill their future.
mm. You know what I think? I worry for her. So I don't know her personally, but I've read people's thoughts about her, and people are very positive about her skill set. What I'm reading anyway is that that she's a bright young lady with a lot of good skills. I suppose I heard the current leader, who's been in office for 20 something years, say that there are things he does not tell his cabinet. And when I heard that, I went into a little bit of shock, because I said to myself, well, it's a cabinet, right? And you would think that, people are part and parcel of the decision making process as a whole. And I worry for her that she might not get the opportunity to really shine, given her level of the level of positivity I see about her or I've read about her. And I'm basing that on what has happened to other people who've come in to the party, who were young, who were fresh, but everybody else seems to be sidelined. And even if they have the portfolio, they don't seem like they're the ones with the final call, or they're just rubber stamping. And I don't know that it's them driving these ideas, or the policies. I think they have to go along. And the idea of a younger person too is a positive, but it gets neutralized. I think the youth gets neutralized, the freshness gets neutralized if I cannot activate it, because I still have an old 26-year long leader who is hitting retirement age, right? Um, Running everything. And that's so it's like the youth. I worry, is the youth just to feed the leader, like kind of like I plug into a battery of youth. Yeah, you plug into a battery of youth, and it gives the illusion of youth, but the youth in the organization are not the ones making the decision. Like the ideas are not what's driving anything, because it's still the old leader has been there for so long, and we've seen the results of that already, driving policy and driving the decisions. So that's where I worry for her. And sometimes you make the choice, ambition, access to a lot of funding might be a driving force in your decision making. But yeah, I worry about those aspects. But I'm very happy that she said yes, and we have another bright young woman in politics serving at whatever level, right? I don't know if she'll win, but those are my
Well,
thoughts.
when I look at it, you're right. The young people, they are drawn. He draws, he draws them in, and it's not that they're
Mhm.
given their full potential for them to, grow and shine, because this man is not going to groom anybody to grow over him, to overshadow him. He pretty
Well, he
much,
has not. He has not.
he
He
wants
has
to be the
not.
brightest. He wants to be the brightest bulb in the room with the weakest filament. And that is what I see from this man. And uh, no matter where he places them, and they are not given the opportunity for them to even speak based on their portfolio, based on,
Right.
so he speaks on everything. He's the minister
Like
of
you mean
health,
like
the
in press
minister of
conferences,
education,
they're not
the
standing
minister of
up.
finance, the prime
Yeah.
minister, the minister of culture, the minister of cool out, the minister of,
Everything.
of housing. He's the minister of everything. And um, and uh, how can you run a government like that? And as I said, if this man was working for the benefit of the country, then you would not be running a little Chandel Muri inside of the financial center, where everybody that come, you have to give them a $300, a $200, a piece of saltfish, a piece of pigtail. You cannot run a government like that. If you had work to do, or if you were a smart leader,
Mhm.
who was plugged in into the development of the country, there is no way you would be able to micromanage
To
every
that degree.
aspect and every facet of our society. You would
And
not be able
because you
to.
have to, you're missing out on a lot. So a lot of things are falling through the cracks
But he's not
because you
missing out.
have to. Yeah, because
He's not
you
missing out.
think
He's
you have
not
to
doing
manage.
anything.
Exactly. Yeah, lots of things are falling by the wayside. It's not getting done because it cannot get done, because you cannot do
It's not.
everything.
And it's not that it cannot get done. I think he just cannot do it. So it's not to say he can, his brain can engineer those things, and then he can work towards fruition of those things. the man is just daft. The man just cannot do it. And from the likes of it, I look at this man and I don't share the view that he's such a brilliant person. If this man was such a brilliant person, you think this man would be running the country like that? This man would not be running the country like that.
Yeah.
And they said he did psychology. What kind of psychology did this man do?
No, the thing about it is, I think people too have a misunderstanding about doing psychology. So, if you to do psychology, to be anything in psychology, that counts. You have to at least have had a master's degree, at least, because you have to at least because the a bachelor's in psychology is a very general. You do a few general courses, but you're also doing your statistics. You're also doing history, you're doing, you're not focusing on psychology at a bachelor's level. At a master's level, you might, you get a little better, but really, you need a doctoral degree in psychology for you to get licensed, right? At the very least. So it's not about that. I don't think it's that. I think get licensed, right? At the very least.
Yeah. So, uh,
It's not the psychology. I think people have certain styles of being in the world, personality styles, and it seemed to work, and people bought into it, and so people are just going along. People are just, it sounds good, so people say that, but that's not what it is.
and but even the this doctor nonsense. I'm hearing in educated people even writing that on paper. Doctor, like the man is for some he studied and he got his PhD, he got his what have you, and he's like, you know and people are referring to him like that.
Nigeria, one of the places that where people like to say there are a lot of scammers, right? So Nigeria
Yeah.
has a history of people writing to you and saying, "Well, you want $1 million, and let me help you get it." They actually cracked down on honorary degrees because a lot of people have been using the honorary degree um, as if it is a real degree, and it's misleading the public. So people who don't know think, well, this is somebody like you're saying who actually went and did a doctoral degree, but that's not true. That's not true. There are many people who can buy, there are mills. When I say a mill, basically you can pay for it, or you can get to know somebody who will be like, okay, yeah, I will confer that on you. Or in the most honest sense of the word, a person would have done something really good in the world, and a school will say, okay, we're going to give you an honorary degree, but there's always the etiquette that you don't use it, and you always correct people if they try to give you the doctor accolade unknowingly. It's your responsibility with an honorary degree to educate people that this is honorary, it's not a real doctorate. And that part I have not seen much of, and that's been kind of scary to me. Yeah.
But you see, the man is an innate narcissist. So
You
how is
think
he
so?
going to? Yeah, he's innately narcissistic.
Why do you think
How
so?
is he going to call? How is he going to say, well, hey, I am not that?
What
Because
makes you say that? Like, what makes you say that?
yeah, it's not about him. It's all about himself. And it's all about when you listen to this man, it's I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. So in the eyes of the people and the Caribbean, he wants to look like he is some kind of but this man is as dumb as hell. I mean, how
Well,
do you run a country like that? How do you run
But
a
I,
country
I, I
like that?
must say, I
Everything
must
has
say
fallen
this
apart.
part. I must say this piece, Marcelline, that because I mean, I've not evaluated. You can't give a person a diagnosis without an evaluation. Um, but you could say that a person has traits, or they're, like they're acting in a way that looks that this might be, but
Well, well, we know them, Margaret, and we have seen a lot of them, in the last 2 weeks. So it's not only skeletal that display those kind of tendencies there. We have
there,
seen we
there
have
are
seen
lots
a
of
lot of it.
tendencies. Exactly, there are.
Yeah,
Uh,
their tendencies.
yeah,
and
yeah.
running the country like that, and you are the most important person on the planet. It's all about, I will do this, I have not done this. This man is just all into himself, and
Mhm.
he's into himself,
Well,
acquiring wealth
here.
for
Let
himself.
me read a few. I'm going to read a few traits. I'm going to read a few narcissistic tendencies that are patterns of behavior, and they may include an inflated sense of importance or superiority, a strong need for admiration, attention, or validation, difficulty accepting criticism, feeling entitled to special treatment, taking advantage of others to achieve personal goals, limited empathy for other people's feelings or needs, frequently blaming others rather than taking responsibility, and being concerned with image, status, or appearance. And those are just tendencies, right? So they're not, it's not a diagnosis. You can't diagnose a person, but those are classic tendencies. So it's up to people to look, to listen, and to look if they see these things.
Man, Margaret, I don't know how, and when you look at what has happened to our young people and the kind of leadership we have in Dominica,
Hmm.
it is really hard,
Hmm.
and we have a situation where the people are paying for it,
Hmm.
and nobody seemed to care. I
Hmm.
wonder, when, with the frequent outages in Dominica, whether the prime minister's residence is also thrown into darkness, and whether his friends their residences are thrown into darkness. Look, I have a cousin who went missing from Castle Bruce. This it's I saw it. It's on Emo. This Slum guy. That's my aunt's, my mom's sister's son.
Wow.
Yeah, he went missing, and what do you think happened? It is said that his sister, who is the main caregiver, she left him to go to her house to get something to come back. But within that time frame, I don't know how long she stayed. They had taken lights, electricity was gone, and he was left in the dark when after electricity gone. So when she got back to the house, he was gone. So she has no idea as to where he went, and this is from since Thursday, and that
Wow.
happened because there was no electricity.
Electricity.
And you see what is happening. There are instances where the elderly, think of what is happening to the
Medication,
elderly.
oxygen.
Some of them are there in the kitchen making their dinner, just finishing up the
Mhm.
dinner, and then boom, there's no electricity. Now,
Mhm.
once electricity goes like that, it leaves you disoriented. You're in the dark
Mhm.
and you're disoriented. As you
Mhm.
suddenly you cannot find the lamp, you cannot find the matches, you cannot find,
Mhm.
so this is what the Dominican people have been going through. People have
Mhm.
not been able to work on the via internet because there's major internet issues in Dominica. Look, we had the guest this afternoon who was supposed to
Yeah.
come with us, and
Mhm.
based on the
Couldn't make
internet
it.
issues, she can't make it, and it's a struggle for the people who work online. So
No, that part,
yeah,
Dominica made a big deal during COVID about being like an option as an island for people who want to do remote work, right? You come and enjoy the beauty of the country,
yeah.
of the island, and do your work, but that's very hard to do if the internet is so unreliable right now.
It is. And think about all the appliances that go bad every time this generator goes off. Then when it comes back up and it powers up with a vengeance, and boom, what happens to the electrical appliances?
So what are people's options? I mean, what are people's options in this with this reality though?
Man, I have no idea. The only thing I know is that Dominica is a failed state, and we saw all the examples of Dominica headed into a failed state. And when you called it like it's a failed state. Some people will say no, it's not a failed state. It's like we're actually waiting to see what plays off in Haiti and Venezuela played off in Dominica to call it a failed state. But
Hmm.
we have clear examples of why we can call Dominica a failed state. The government cannot produce goods and services. Look at, there's no health care. There is no right now there's no electricity, no
Well, you said
power.
there's no healthcare, but there was a brain surgery performed recently.
uh, a brain surgeon performed recently.
A brain
Opposed.
surgery.
Okay, well, we have one brain surgeon, and and this is very good for one. Someone had a successful whatever done
Mhm.
recently, but we have had about over 100 people dying
Yeah.
because dying for just going to the
Minor.
going to the hospital, and then there's no inquiry as to the cause of death of all these people for normal mild situations, and the people died. So
Mhm.
which hospital that there would be so many deaths and not do an
Mhm.
inquiry into the reason why people are dying at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital?
Something
Why
is
isn't
going
there
on that
an
needs to be
inquiry?
investigated. You must investigate deaths like that, and I don't think we're hearing any follow up, and that's been very disappointing, shocking, really. Yeah.
It is
I
very,
know
it
somebody
is very
mentioned when it
disappointing.
comes to the electricity, somebody's offered a suggestion that maybe consumers consider a class action lawsuit.
What you say, thing?
I said that somebody has
Are you hearing a
suggested.
lot of noise in my background, Margaret?
I am, yes.
Huh?
I'm
Just now, hold
hearing
on,
a
let
lot
me
of
clean
noise.
up.
Yeah. Guys, what do you think?
You got shelled down from
What options do you think are available to consumers in Dominica
You wanna?
when it comes to their appliances and electricity? I was going to tell Marcelline that I've heard some people mention a class action lawsuit as one option. Marcelline, a class action lawsuit has been suggested by some people.
Yeah, well,
Over here,
well,
that's
I
what should
support
happen.
I support that too. It's a long time ago they should have done that class action lawsuit because nobody seems to pay for anything in Dominica,
No,
and they feel like they can do all of those things and then come on the radio and said that Domlec will not, or Domlec or whoever will not be responsible and what have you. But how can you tell that the people that nonsense
it's like there are no
when the
consequences.
electrical appliances uh, uh, are being destroyed? When and how do you tell the people who work over the internet, that who cannot work effectively to earn the income? How do you tell these people that? What do you have to say to these people? I mean, who is responsible for that geothermal nonsense that has gone so wrong that it has just created more problems than when Domlek was powering up the country. I mean, it has never been more uncertain than now. So
Yeah.
something has to be done. The people have to stop talking and probably file a class action
Do
lawsuit.
you think Dominicans have too much patience?
Oh yes, they do. They have a lot of patience, and you know why I tell you they have a lot of patience. Dominicans have a lot of patience. Margaret, you have been to Dominica in the last. You have been to Dominica recently. I have been
Mhm,
back in Dominica a few times. Just look at the
mhm.
length of time you have to wait in the bank, to do one little transaction. And when you go to the bank, it's like half of your day is gone. You cannot do anything else. When you decide, okay, Monday morning I go into the bank, you have to make up your mind to stay a good 2 to 3 hours inside of the bank, just waiting in a line, and nobody seemed to be in, of any haste. And that this is a lot of patience to be in a system like that. And everybody seemed to be, even nobody, no one seems to be, you have people going to the hospital and people waiting in the waiting mm, in the emergency room, and it's like they have forgotten these people. And I heard some horror story that people go to the hospital and they stayed in the waiting room until they died in the emergency room, and then not even being able to see a doctor. I
Well,
mean, how you allow that to happen?
so the part that really, I think the people have to move towards is more accountability. Well, there needs to be an investigation and um, some redress. Like, I think people need to be thinking more in that way. I don't know what else to offer.
But another thing, especially in the healthcare bit, where has empathy gone? Where has love gone for humanity? I mean, we all have families. Would you like someone to treat your family that way?
No, no. Do you know I actually started talking about these things as because of my dad? Like, really, he went up to the hospital and oh, we had the worst experience. And I had just lost my fiance 2 months before. I just couldn't, like, my heart felt like it was about to burst out
Mhm.
of my chest, hearing what was happening with my dad. And I just started speaking up and out, and just like that was the very least I could do because I thought I was going to just fall out.
The first there was a time my dad was in the hospital. Not this last time, but he was in the hospital, and someone took a picture and sent it to us. He was he and another patient was right next to him, and when you looked at my dad's hand, the other patients, the green man medication was connected in my father's veins, and you could see it. You could see the name. You could see the name on the drip bag. It was not Joseph Steve or Gordon. It was the name of the other patient. So the cords may have the drip bags, they may have tangled, switched. So instead of putting the one on the right in the green man's arm and the one on the left in Joseph Steve Gordon arm, it must have
Yeah.
switched. And when you look at that, you wonder how many people have they done that to.
Oh man.
And
Well, well, maybe the people will go ahead and register to vote and confirm and make a different choice next time they have an opportunity.
well, hopefully they can do that. But I'm also hearing something else with the voters ID cards. Uh, when the government, when Skerrit came up with his own electoral reform, and that is after he had trashed almost everything that the Dominican people paid $1 million for to Justice Byron to do. He came up with his own reforms. Wasn't the voter ID card part of electoral reform, that after you register and you confirm, then you get the voter ID card?
I thought so.
But up to this day, and Dominicans have not received the voter ID card.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering what is really going on with the fact that they're not issuing voter ID cards, and is
Hmm.
that a way to corrupt the system? Because if he calls an election where Dominicans do not have a voter ID card, it means no one will be able to come up to say, well, I am Marcelline Edwards, or you are Margaret Wallace, and I am registered to in the Margaret constituency, and you in the where were
Cottage.
you from? In the Cottage constituency. So people still do not have voters ID card, and I don't understand for the likes of me why isn't that a very serious issue where you call all the stakeholders, you call a press conference, all opposition, you invite persons, you invite the public, you invite the media, and make it a national issue that this registration and confirmation process is not going according to how it is supposed to be done. And this is disenfranchising the Dominican people. Because when you disenfranchise people, you have actually take away the rights to vote. This is a major issue. And everyone can say, well, I am not registering and I'm not confirming and I'm not what have you. But anytime you say that, it means that you have indirectly voted to keep the cabal
The
on your
system
back.
as is. Yeah. Well, as far as the electricity and the geothermal, well, who called it geothermal? The geothermal system. Anyway, Simone is saying that there was a consumers against high utility rates, an attempt anyway to have some accountability, and no one there was not much support regarding Dominic.
Hmm.
Um, Anthony says no notice is given when the power supply is being interrupted. Sometimes, I guess some it's inconsistent because sometimes you're getting notice, sometimes not. Chiqueto says that certain people are insulated from these blackouts. They have generators on on their homes, so he thinks they don't care. He says he does not have any electricity right now. Wow.
But I think there was also a ban on persons being able to order generators and stuff like
A
that.
ban?
Yes, I think
Why?
I think
Why?
I think persons have to either get a permit to order a generator, or there was a
What about
ban
hurricanes? But
on
what
on
about the hurricane?
generators. And
But why do you need a permit? Why not make it even
I
easier to get a generator?
I think that there was some issue, and persons can clarify that, but I think that there was some issue on persons being able to just buy a generator and use a generator to power up their homes.
So what's
Uh,
going to
and
happen when the hurricanes hit?
I don't even know why. Why? Because I know in the past in Concord, it's like that is what was used because Concord got electricity late, so
Yeah,
they were so why it has become a problem for persons to
buy a
buy
generator.
generators and have the generators. I
That
don't
doesn't make much
understand.
sense. That's
But in
doesn't
the
make
meantime, as Chepito says, those guys have generators, big generator on their house. So meanwhile they have and you know, man, I don't know.
that doesn't
These
make
people,
much
these
sense
people,
except
these
if
people
it's
may have lost their
super
mind, Margaret.
vulnerable.
Because
Huh?
how you run a country like that and you
Yeah,
punish
that
the
doesn't make
people,
much sense.
and
Yeah.
people are unjust, they just in, what have you done? What have you
Well, they
done
have
to the
accepted it.
Dominican people?
People have accepted it. Yeah.
What have you done to these people? People
Hmm.
in darkness, and then you come around and then you give them a little $200, you give them a little $300. And mark you, is a lot of those people in the same housing revolution, a lot of them disappearing, yes.
Right.
So they know exactly where to find them when they're ready to sell them. If you sell
Oh
them,
my
sell
goodness.
them.
You said they're disappearing, like as in physically?
Yeah, they have had several disappearances and people who live inside of those houses. So that is another thing that people have to start looking at, because you know I'm hearing that some man left to go to a funeral and the man got so lost. Is there a place for you to get lost in Dominica that they cannot find you? from going to a funeral. So this is something, a lot of people think that they can sit back and they can accept all of those things there and what have you. But then I used to listen to the song, and I would say that, the song of dice, and about the jumpy money. And I never really paid much attention to that, the essence of that song. But the more I hear about that song and those monies and those and what has happened to people, it start to dawn on me that there's a possibility that there's something wrong, through those monies there. But people are still waiting for those monies. People are still accepting those monies, and I don't know why.
Well, well, go register to vote, confirm, um, change the system. Let's take one more comment and then we wrap up. Chiqueto says the new generator, once the lights get cut off, they automatically come on. All right, they use propane gas. Okay. Y'all, uh, it doesn't have to be this way. It's been that way for a long time. You can keep it up if you want, but it doesn't have to be this way. And you have an opportunity to make a difference. You have to be registered to vote to do it. Yeah. Marcelline, we're gonna go home tonight with this video by the that's floating around where we've been instructed on who is actually being deported to the islands.
Hmm.
Very not nice people. I think I just feel disappointed. If I mean, how much more disappointed can you get with our leaders in the Caribbean for really disrespecting the people by not giving them correct information about who's actually coming down to the islands? I feel as if the islands are being seeded with very frightening situations, and they're not being very clear with the
Hmm.
people about the reality, except that the people who are sending the people are being very clear about who it is they're sending.
Hmm.
I think the answer is to uh, go confirm and register to vote.
Yes, yes, and but outside of the confirmation, there is hardly anything one can do to change the situation. And more people on the ground must confirm. They must register and they must confirm, because this is the only way you're going to do it.
It's the only
And
way. It's the
I
only
I
way.
I, I understand the chess game in registering the people on the ground, because clearly this man is not working for the people on the ground, and since it's not the people on the ground electing him, his votes are coming from the diaspora, and he must have secured his confirmations in the diaspora. But if this man knew that his vote was actually coming from Dominica, where the Dominican people had to grade his report card, I think this man would have done a lot better by the Dominican people. But it's now or never for the Dominican people to stand up and say, this is the only way I can do it. Register to vote, confirm, get your friends, get your relatives, get everybody you know, everybody you see in the street, talk to them, have a conversation with them, and help them find a place where they can register and confirm to vote, so that in the next, whenever it is that this government can be voted against to be removed, because we are hearing a lot more about what is coming up as to wanting to make it a one government state and what have you. And once this man has hinted that, you know that that is what is in his wicked head. That is what he's thinking about. And all of them will do that because they want to remain in office, not because they have been working for the people, or not because they want to work for the people, but because this is his passport for his freedom. He must remain in office so that he can have his freedom to keep his wealth. And it's left to the Dominican people whether they want to allow that or not, whether they want to gain wealth or whether they want to remain poor. whether
Mhm.
they want to leave a legacy for their children,
Mm.
and decide what type of Dominica they want their children to live
To inherit.
and
Yeah.
to leave behind for their children.
All right, my people. The choice
Yes,
is yours. Happy Father's Day to all
yes,
the beautiful men of the land. Straighten up
yes.
your spine.
Hmm.
Yeah, firm up your backbone. Stand up. We appreciate you. Marcin, you have a few closing thoughts for the man?
Yes. Well, today, a lot of people would say that it's a normal day. Every day is Father's Day, and I maintain every day is not Father's Day. Not every father is a daddy. Not every daddy is a father.
Mm-hmm.
But today, our men can, strap up their shoes and do different. Our men can get involved. It is never too late for you to get involved in your children, to spend quality time with them, to help them grow, to show them the way, to not just show up when they earn a degree or they graduate
Right.
college or they're a doctor tomorrow, they're a nurse tomorrow, or
Mm-hmm.
or you get sick and you want your children to take care of you and what have you. It doesn't
Right.
happen at that point in time. At that point in time, it is too late. It's now you have to show up and show interest in the lives of your children, and help them grow, teach them good values, because the Bible says, like, parents have to leave an inheritance for their children, and it's not talking about monetary value, but it is also talking about how, what you grow them with
Character.
spiritually and otherwise, what you
Mm.
put into them, so that they can show their children, and the children can benefit from. Because if I was not raised properly, then I could not raise structured children. I could not raise some children, and if they were not raised properly, they could not raise strong children. So
Mm.
it's a domino effect. So our fathers can do more, and those who are doing continue doing, and those who are not doing, the fathers who are not doing, then and the fathers who are doing, hold the hands of those who are not doing. So
Mhm.
then form that brotherhood. When
Mm.
it comes to children, that all you can be there for the children, because a lot of abuse would not have happened if the fathers were in the children's
Strong
lives.
present fathers.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of abuse in Dominica, both
Yeah.
physical, both sexual, both
Emotional.
emotional, everything. You see them number of young men on the road, and they are just, they're just in a daze and what have you. A lot of them is like they lost their mind, what
Mhm.
have you. If only they had, parents that they could talk to, and people they could talk to. And, children is our children. It's our children, because it takes a village
Takes
to
a
raise.
village. It takes a village. It really
Yes,
does. Yeah.
yes, and it takes a whole country to raise children.
Mhm.
If we
Mhm.
raise strong children, we will have better societies, we will have better leaders, and and when you
Yeah.
say better, we're safer everyhow. So, our fathers, we really appreciate you, and without you all, there could be no children.
Mhm.
And so, thank you for what you have been doing. You all are the strong pillars in our society, and we give you all the kudos for everything that you have been doing. Sometimes we don't recognize you all enough, and we don't say thank you enough, and we don't encourage you all enough. But you know, all fathers can do it if you hold each other's hand. It's an
Indeed.
ego thing. It's an ego thing,
Indeed.
but men come together to do men things. Men can
Yeah.
come together to do family things too.
For
Do
sure.
family
For sure.
things for your children.
For sure.
Because it's fathers are very proud. Especially when the kids do well.
Mhm.
Then they can talk about the kids. They can
Ça fait
what
moi.
you. You know.
C'est un homme.
Yeah. Zafamwe. Zafamwe. So please, man, do
All
your
right,
thing.
so
Do the best. You all are strong. Be there
indeed.
for us.
Happy Sunday. Happy
Happy Sunday.
Father's
God
Day.
bless you all.
See you all
Margaret,
next time.
thank you. God bless. God bless
Yes,
sis.
ma'am.
May you
Thank
have a
you.
very productive tomorrow.
Thank you. You
And
too.
uh, and on the thank you. And on the radio station, they said they're looking for more of you. My sister told me today, boy, I love that lady way.
Oh,
I love that lady. Everything the lady says is true, and the lady don't put water in her mouth, you know.
oh.
It's good. So hopefully you can do some more sessions with them on the radio.
Let's see.
Well,
I'm wide open. I'm open for it. So
they're listening and they love your vibe. So
thank you all. Thank you
yes,
all for
hope,
listening. All right.
hopefully the geothermal will work and the country will be restored with some
For
lights
sure.
and
For
people
sure.
can get back to work via the internet and do what they have to do. But for now,
Indeed.
my Dominican people, continue praying.
Of
God moves
course.
mountains.
Peace.
Peace and love.